where we stopped. I asked you for your evidence for flat Earth, and you said that you see a flat horizon. And I asked you if this is something that is only exclusive to flat Earth, and you said no. You said this is ambiguous and it's possible in both models. So I was just wondering why you consider this to be strong evidence when it's something that doesn't disprove either model. It's something that's either possible on flat Earth or the globe.
That's incorrect, because the observation is not ambiguous. You see a flat horizon. That's the observation. Right?
Yeah, but a flat horizon is not exclusive to flat Earth. That can also happen on a globe.
Right, if you accept the story of a globe. But if you
Why
don't
does it have to
accept,
be a story?
because it
But
is.
you see, you sort of put this in a framework where you make it look ridiculous, and that's not what it is. It's not a story. It's not a belief system. These are real measurements that have been done by real professional geodetic surveyors. So you just saying that it's all a story and make believe is sort of poisoning the well.
Well, that's how I see it. I'm not saying that it is a story. That's how I see it. Okay?
Yeah, but that's how you see it, and what goes on in your mind isn't necessarily reality.
Right. That's why I said that the observation is not ambiguous. It's right there. Now, when I look into surveying, okay, there are two types from what I've read about. There's plane surveying and there's geodetic. Now, plane surveying, they just measure and whatever they get, they get. But with geodetic, the Earth is considered a sphere, and then they measure and compare their results to a model. And whatever measurements don't fit the model, they throw out. Now,
Well, that may be true for certain things like spherical excess, where they do have a hypothetical model in mind before they make their measurements. But when we're talking about things like reciprocal zenith angles, there are no presuppositions involved with this. These are just observations that are taken, and conclusive measurements are made from those observations. So, what presuppositions are involved when geodetic surveyors are doing measurements involving reciprocal zenith angles, where they measure that plumb lines aren't parallel, they in fact deviate away from each other?
well, that's based on looking through a reticle, right, out over a distance, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Right. And then that line in the reticle will, not the line, but what they're looking at will rise or fall depending on refraction, correct? And there's always refraction.
Yeah, that's correct. And that's why most of these observations aren't done close to the surface of the ground, like at sea level. If you notice, most geodetic surveyors do their observations on mountain peaks, because the higher you go, the thinner the atmosphere gets. And the closer you are to the ground, there's like a lot of noise, there's a lot of refraction, especially over refractive surfaces like large bodies of water. So when you're doing observations in situations like those, of course you're going to get inconclusive results because you're dealing with a media that's constantly shifting. But at higher elevations or higher altitudes, this is different, and the results are more predictable.
But
You guys tend to ignore these observations when they're presented to you. You only seem to lean towards the ones that are ambiguous, like Travis's, for example, which don't really give you any conclusive results. It's either, anything is up for everything is up for grabs, and there's like no conclusion. There's no concrete conclusion that you can obtain from observations like that.
because you are comparing to a model and seeing if it fits. If it doesn't, then you throw the results out.
What model is Travis using in his observations?
I'm not talking about him.
All right, let's not talk about Travis. What model are geodetic surveyors using when they're making measurements of reciprocal zenith angles? Because just like I said before, there aren't any presuppositions involved with this. So I'm just trying to understand what you mean when you say that they're comparing it to a specific model.
Do they or do they not compare to a model? Yes or no?
This is only after the measurements are done, but not before.
Right. So they
And
do.
regardless of that, how would that observation even be possible on your specific model?
Just agree and then we can move on. Do they compare to the model or not?
Okay, for the sake of this discussion, I'm willing to agree with that, but I'm just
Okay.
asking you, how do these observations comport with your model?
I don't have a
Because they
model.
don't.
I don't have a story about how I see the world. I just see it. And
Yeah, you tend to just take this vague position where we can't question anything because we don't really know what your model is or what your belief system is.
I
And I
know
think
that I
that
can't.
that's sort of intentional because it allows you to sort of be in this position where you can ask questions and attack the current paradigm, but we can't ask you anything because we don't really know what your position is. We don't know what you believe in. We don't know what your paradigm is. And I feel like that's intentional because if you were to provide us with some sort of model, we could scrutinize that. And you don't want that, do you?
I can't convince you of my story. That's why we're here, is because you can't convince me of your story.
Yeah, you can't convince me of your story because
Correct.
your story
But
is not real. It's not
but
based on any real measurements. It's not based on anything that you personally have done. It's only based on your incredulity and your disbelief of the current paradigm.
what I can do is demonstrate what I see. I know about the theories of light. The whole concept of space is nonsense. Okay? So
But that's not what we're
so
talking about right now. We're just
and
talking about
all
what. Go ahead. Sorry, I
the
didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
the the entire globe model hinges on a theory of space. There is no such thing. Okay, light. People talk about the behavior of light. You don't see light. You see effects. You have vision, and then you see effects of what we assume light is doing, but you never see the actual light coming in, straight lines or whatever the hell you think it's doing. You
Right. You
see,
see now what you're doing now is you're resorting back to what I had mentioned earlier, which is incredulity. You're instead
no,
rejecting the current paradigm, and you're not really providing evidence for what your
that's not
understanding of
incredulity.
reality is.
That's not incredulity. The current,
It is
no,
incredulity. You are just saying that you don't believe in the current paradigm just because you don't believe in it. You're not providing any counter evidence or any
okay,
rational
so,
explanations as to why the current model is wrong. You're just saying that it's wrong and you're
okay,
choosing not to believe in it.
okay, so let's talk about space. Do you want to talk about that?
No, because I
Yeah,
personally
that's
don't
what I
believe
thought.
in space. I'd rather just talk about
I
things
didn't say
that.
that I didn't believe in it. I said that it does not exist.
Right, but I'd rather not talk about
Right.
space because don't you think it's better to talk about things that we can both do here on Earth? Things that are not only that can't only be done by like space agencies or NASA, for example. Geodetic surveying is something that we can all do. It's something that's objectively true for everybody here on Earth. It's
Yeah,
not
then
something that can only be performed by like a set group of individuals, like
why do
astronauts,
you
for
need to
example.
compare your measurements to a model and whatever doesn't fit you throw out? Why are there two types? See, that raises suspicion for me. Like
Because
if I consider my door a banana and then consider for curvature, I could get you to think that my door is a banana. But no, I just measure it. Why
well,
does Earth need to be considered a sphere?
that's because every time you make observations, it's important. It's important to come up with a hypothesis. Either we could say that if we're on this specific model, this is what we should expect to see, or if we're on a different model, this is what we should expect to see. It's important to have a hypothesis as a means to sort of have something to refer to after you've made your measurement.
But your hypothesis is not reality. It's a story thought up by you. And then you could consider Earth a, hexagon, and then say, oh, well, we measure differently from what we should expect.
And how is that different from your hypothesis, which is also just a belief system? Because you don't have any evidence to substantiate anything that you're saying. Unlike the globe, for example, regardless of whether you believe that the globe is not real and all of this stuff is just a lie, at least there's evidence to support it. Unlike flat Earth that doesn't have any evidence at all. So what makes you believe in something that you don't even have evidence to support?
That's my story. I can't convince you of my story. I could show you what I see. I could walk you through the steps of how the concept of space is nonsense. Light is complete nonsense. Okay? So, what do you want me to do?
But those are just your personal opinions. And
Thank you.
The observations that you have
point.
provided are ambiguous, meaning that they don't disprove the current model of reality.
I see the sun move. I see the moon move. I see the stars move. If you want to bring up the Foucault pendulum, I see the pendulum move, not the Earth. Gyroscopes. I see the gyroscope move, not the Earth. Okay?
Yeah, and that could mean two things. It could either mean that the sky is rotating or the Earth is rotating.
It means you saw something move.
Right, and you're only choosing to have one conclusion based on
because that's
that
what I
observation.
see and that's what I could demonstrate.
But that's dishonesty, because
No, it's not. It's right there in front of your
ambiguous
face.
observations that are possible on both models. You could either say that the sky is rotating above a flat surface, or we're on a ball and the ball is rotating and
No, you
everything
can't.
above us looks like it's moving.
No, you can't.
Why
Because-
not?
Because you don't see that. You see the sun move, period.
So if we were on a rotating Earth with a stationary sun, would it not do the same thing?
That's another story. You need to prove that first, sir.
But you haven't answered my question, Jerry. Would it not do the same thing?
It would.
If we were on a rotating Earth with a stationary sun, would the sun not appear to be moving above us?
It would, but you need to imagine first.
No,
Okay.
You don't need to imagine anything. You just need
Yes, you
to
did.
agree
You
that
said
these
if.
are ambiguous observations that are possible on both models, and they don't disprove either or.
Dude, you said if. Okay? No, there is no if. The sun is moving. Period.
Prove that.
I-
Just like we have to,
I
just like
look at
most globe earthers have to prove that Earth is rotating, you also have to prove that the sun is moving.
I don't believe
You
in these
don't just
frames
get
of
to make
reference.
claims without any evidence. That's
I
not
don't-
how this works.
I don't believe in frames of reference, okay? You do.
Well,
You
your
believe
incredulity
that.
doesn't matter. Just the fact that you choose not to believe in things doesn't make them not real.
I
Your
could demonstrate
incredulity
the sun
doesn't
moving.
negate anything.
I could demonstrate the sun moving. I could demonstrate a flat horizon.
How can you demonstrate that?
Well, I could point at it and say, look, it's moving. That's as far as I could go. If you don't want to believe that, that's
So
fine.
how does that disprove that it's not us that are moving instead?
Because you don't see us moving. You see the sun moving.
Well, that doesn't disprove either model. I'm sorry to say that, but you just have a bias where you can only accept things that are congruent with your paradigm, and anything that doesn't work with your paradigm, you just choose to reject.
That sounds like
I'm just gonna
projection,
point out
sir.
the dishonesty here.
That
Because
sounds
that's
like
exactly
projection,
what's
sir. That sounds like projection. Okay? I'm telling you what I see. And you're saying, no. You're not really seeing that.
I'm not projecting
moving.
anything, because I'm doing what you're not doing. I'm willing to accept that these possibilities are possible on both models. You're not willing to do that. You're just saying that it's only possible on one model. So who's taking an unbiased position? Is it
hold
me
on.
or the you that only chooses to
Hold
believe
on.
that then one model is possible.
I'm
Who's
not
being
saying
biased?
I'm not saying it doesn't work on your model. I'm saying you need to imagine the model first, and then it works.
Why do we need to imagine that?
Because, like I said, you don't see the Earth moving. You see the sun moving. You need to think that you're moving. You need to believe that. Okay?
Well, Earth's rotation is not just a belief system. It's actually been measured. And you already
Right.
know this, but you just this is part of your script. You have to deny all this evidence to make flat Earth real.
Okay. So now you're going to bring up something moving that isn't the Earth and say that the Earth is moving like a gyro, like a pendulum, right?
So you're
Again,
saying that it's the gyroscope that's moving and it's not really the Earth that's rotating.
correct, because you see it.
And you paused for a second there because I think you realized that that doesn't make any sense.
No, it's because I wanted to make sure that I was thinking
No,
correctly.
it's because you realize that that statement doesn't make any sense. Because
No, you
why would the
see,
gyroscope be moving and not the Earth?
that's for you to answer. Okay?
No, you're the one that made the claim, so it's you to provide evidence for that.
I
Provide
never,
evidence that
I
it's a
never had,
gyroscope that's moving and it's not actually Earth that's moving.
I never claimed to have a reason to
Yeah, you did.
explain
You
why
said that it
the
was a gyroscope that's rotating. It's not Earth that's rotating.
right. That's what we see. Now, anything after that is a story. You have to imagine, come up
No, but
with
that's
things.
not what we see. What we see is that when we measure Earth's rotation with a gyroscope, we tend to get uniform results.
You're not measuring anything.
So what is a gyroscope doing if it's not measuring anything?
It is spinning. I mean, you could say that it's measuring something, but it's just spinning. That's it.
Well, the gyroscope is not spinning. I'm not sure
Well,
you
whatever.
understand how gyroscopes work.
It
I don't have
it
a
doesn't
full
even matter.
understanding either, but I know that it has to do with interferometry. It doesn't have to
Good.
do with anything spinning. So what are you talking
Good.
about?
Good. What I do know is that no matter what you point at, you will never point at the Earth moving. You'll point at something else and say, that's because the Earth is moving. No, 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 no. That's not what you saw.
Right. Well, to you that might be conclusive evidence, but to any rational individual,
I
they don't
never
have
said
any.
that it was conclusive of anything.
Right, because you're not willing to take a conclusive position because you don't want to provide anything that I can scrutinize. You just want to be in this limbo where you
I'm
get
willing
to
to talk about
attack the
space
current paradigm and don't have to provide any evidence to substantiate any of your claims.
because there's nothing I could show you without you attaching some kind of story to
Yeah,
it, saying, "Oh, well,
there's
that's
nothing you can show me because there's no flat Earth evidence.
the sun is
Don't you
moving, the
realize that?
horizon is flat." Geodetic surveyors uh, adhere to a model. Okay, there's no such thing as space. Light is the theory about light is nonsense. Okay, because you don't see light. You need light. You need space.
Right, and in fact, the horizon is not flat. I actually brought this up a couple of years ago when I brought this up a couple of years ago when I debated Bev, and it was an interesting topic. A lot of people picked this up, including Brandon Toy, Jeremy, and a lot of different people. When I stated this, that the horizon is actually not flat; it's a circle around you, and the reason for that is because if I'm looking north, I'm going to see the horizon. If I look south, I'm going to see the horizon. If I look left, right, I always am going to see the horizon. So that there tells you that it is a circle that encompasses you. It's like surrounding you. And if it was a horizontal line that went from left to right, it couldn't do that. So you claiming that the horizon is a straight line or horizontal is nonsense because it clearly isn't.
What do you see?
I say that on a globe, the horizon would be a circle around you, and it would also be the same thing on a flat surface, because if we consider the horizon to be the limit of your vision, or how far you can see,
Right.
that limit would be a circle. It wouldn't just be a line that moves from left to right.
Right. Now, flat Earth and globe Earth are both stories. Okay. But the observation is a flat horizon and a moving sun and a moving pendulum and a moving gyroscope and no such thing as space. Okay.
No, flat Earth is in fact the story, because flat Earth doesn't have any evidence to support it, and the globe does.
I'm
You just have to say that it's a story, because that's your way of sort of making it look ridiculous.
because I don't want to go back and forth about, yeah, well, this source says that, and this source says that, and oh, well, he said this and that, and all for you to say at the end, yeah, well, all those sources, they all believe that Earth is a globe. Okay, I'm not going to do that with you, sir. Okay, let's just
because
talk about
what I
what we
noticed
see.
is that whenever you're provided with sources, you're just going to reject them and demand that I provide something that I've personally done myself. And I understand where you're coming from with that, because what you're saying is that I'm just accepting something that's been done by other people. I haven't
I
really
don't do that.
critically analyzed it or assessed it to see if it's real or not. But if you're willing to take that position, that means that all geodetic surveyors either don't know what they're doing or they're all lying to us. And
They're
that
just
seems like
doing
a
their
rather
job.
ridiculous position to take, because that can't be reality. Of course they know what they're doing. Of course they're licensed geodetic surveyors, because they've studied it, for one, and they get paid to do this.
They're just doing their job, sir. Okay.
Yeah, but so you're saying that their job is just nonsense? It's all based on a lie that's supposed to sort of hide flat Earth from everybody? Does that really
No,
make sense to you?
that's my story. Okay.
Exactly, and that's all it is. It's just a story.
What I'm telling you, the fact is they compare to a model. Whatever doesn't fit, they throw out. Period. That's the fact.
Yeah,
Okay.
because whenever we make observations, we need to come up with a hypothesis and compare our observations to our hypothesis and see if it matches. I don't see anything wrong with doing that.
Okay. Well, the sun is moving, right? And then you're going to say, no, look, this thing, this pendulum is moving. That means that the Earth is
If the
moving.
sun is moving, you're going to have to prove that. The
Look at
claim
it.
was made that Earth is rotating, and it was proven with a pendulum or with a gyroscope.
Yeah, things that aren't the
But the
Earth.
sun, the stationary on Earth with the sun rotating above it hasn't been proven.
Dude, you will never see it move. You'll always see something else move. Moon, stars, pendulums, gyros, sun, people, planes, clouds, birds. Everything else moves. The Earth doesn't.
Well, you don't know that. That's just your own personal opinion.
That's the observation. That's it.
What observation?
You see everything else move. You never see the Earth move.
So you don't think that it's important that we measure things? It's fine to just observe things and make conclusions without having any measurements done.
I never said that. I said if you're going to measure, you need something to compare to, like something real, physical, not
Well, that isn't what you
calculate.
said, but that's in fact what you're doing.
No, that's
Because
exactly what I said.
you're making an observation and you're just formulating a conclusion without making any measurements.
Yeah, well, the observation is that you see the gyroscope moving, whatever it's doing, whatever. Cavendish, pendulums, things that aren't the Earth.
Yeah, and that's right. We make an observation, we make measurements, then we formulate a conclusion. All of which you haven't done. All you have done is just made an observation and formed a conclusion.
I didn't form any conclusions.
So you saying that the sun is rotating above us is not a conclusion?
That's what I see.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily what's happening.
Says you.
No, it says the evidence.
There is no evidence that could contradict that because we see it moving.
You see that the difference between what I'm doing is that I'm making claims that are supported by real world evidence. You're just making claims that are personal opinions. You don't have any evidence to support anything you're saying.
Because I can't convince you of my story. Okay, evidence is subjective. Okay.
Well, you would be able to convince me if you could provide evidence, but you can't do
Okay.
that.
Okay. The sun is moving. There's no such thing as space. Okay.
Where's your evidence for that?
For what? There not being space?
No, for the sun is moving.
I see it.
Yeah, but that's just your personal opinion. Nobody else on Earth, other than flat earthers, think the same thing that you do.
Okay, good. Who cares?
Well, you
Think
don't care,
they
but
no one else
rational people do.
see, you said no one else thinks that, but they see it. And then they have a story and say it doesn't fit the story, therefore it's not doing that. You are not uh, just accepting the observation. You are the denialist.
Yeah, but simply just making an observation is not. That's not really science. And if we're to consider science, um, based on how you guys perform science, which is with independent variables and deep
Argue
understanding.
with me, not against Quantum Eraser or Nathan Oakley, all right?
Right, but you can agree that just making an observation is not enough. You got to do a little bit more than that.
It depends on what the observation is.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, great. Then the sun is moving.
That's just your personal opinion and a belief system.
That's what I see. It's not a story, it's what I see.
It is a story.
Okay.
Because that's what you're doing right now. You're just telling me a story and you're asking me to believe it. You're not providing any evidence. So how do you expect me to believe this if you're just telling me this?
Because evidence is subjective. Who gives a crap? Okay.
You see, you wouldn't expect the same thing from me. You wouldn't expect me to just make up a story and you to believe it. You would expect that I provide evidence to support anything that I say. In fact,
Right.
that seems to be the modus operandi in most flat Earth servers. Every globe earther has to provide evidence for all of their claims, but you
Right.
guys don't have to provide anything.
And when you do, and then we tear it apart, you guys say, "Oh, well, you're just stupid." All
So
right. So then,
why don't we
so
switch? Why don't we reverse the roles and why don't you provide evidence then I tear it up? Why is it always the other way around? Why is it always the globe earthers have to provide everything and you guys get to sit back in your armchairs and just reject everything that's shown to you?
look, I agree that it's frustrating, and that's why I don't want to go back and forth about stories and sources. And he said this because I
Well,
know how
because it's just
frustrating
a
it is.
game, dude. You have to realize that all you're doing is just playing a game. You're playing this game where you pretend that Earth is flat, and you get globe Earthers to just jump through hoops for you. You don't
I
have to
don't
do anything. You don't have to provide any evidence to support anything you're saying, but the opposition has to do all the work. And that's just
because
a game, dude. That's not
because
someone that's actually seeking the truth. If you want to know the truth, you would be listening. You'd be trying to understand the information. You wouldn't just be looking for different ways to reject what's being shown to you.
well, that's what I did. Okay, I've looked into surveying. I've looked into light. I've looked into how the heliocentric model was come up with. I've looked into everything, geometry. Okay, uh, Newton, Einstein, all this stuff. I've looked into all of it. Okay, it's just a big shit show.
Well, it depends on what you mean by looked at it. Have you looked at it and scrutinized it critically, or have you just rejected it because it doesn't conform to your belief system?
Well, I sent you all my stuff about light and telescopes, right? So you know that I've looked into this stuff
Yeah,
and
but a
I've
lot of
thought
what you
about it.
sent me was archaic information from like the 1600s and the 1800s. It's 2021. We're a lot more advanced. There's a lot
And
more we understand about light than we did in the past.
okay, so tell me what it is.
Tell you what is.
light is.
And if I do give you this information, is it gonna change your position? Is it gonna make you
No,
less
you
critical of the
said,
globe in any kind of way?
you made a claim that we know that we have better ideas of what light is, something like that. I already know what the
Well,
ideas
yeah,
are.
I said we have a better understanding of what light is. I
Okay,
didn't necessarily say that we know what it is.
okay.
We understand how it behaves within specific media. Is
No,
what
you
we
don't.
understand.
No, you don't.
Well, what part of that does that make you think that I said that we don't understand how light behaves?
Because you don't see sunlight. You have lasers, which is not sunlight. Okay. And when
We
you
don't
look at
see
things,
sunlight.
correct, you see objects.
So when I'm looking at the sun, I'm not seeing sunlight.
You're looking at what we call the sun.
And the sun is not casting light on
We are,
everything around it.
now we're not talking about light anymore. We're talking about the sun. See?
Well, I feel like you're just playing a game here, where you want
Right.
to
And
pretend
this
that
this
we don't
this is what
understand
happens.
anything. But we actually do. There's a lot of things that we fully understand. You may not, in particular, understand any of this subject
I
matter, but there
understand
are
all
people
of it.
out there that actually do.
I understand all of it. And that's why I think it's bullshit.
Well, if you understand all of it, why are you saying that we don't know anything?
Because you never have the objective evidence of what light is doing. You see effects.
So when you've been presented with experiments showing lasers bending through different media, that's us not understanding how light is behaving in any kind of way. Is that what you're
That's
saying?
that's laser light. Okay, that's called coherent light. Sunlight is incoherent light. If they could do that with sunlight, then they wouldn't do it with lasers. But no one ever does it with sunlight because you can't see sunlight.
Well, all light gets refracted within a media, and that's the point of all of these experiments, is to demonstrate that media has effects on how light bends throughout that specific media.
Good. Now show me the sunlight bending.
Show you the sunlight bending.
Right. If you're going to say that light bends or the path of light or whatever the hell, you need to show me that, not see an effect and then say, oh, that's because the light is bending.
Well, according to the globe model, the light rays are coming in parallel
Yeah.
from a medium that doesn't have that much like space doesn't really have as much atmosphere as the surface of Earth, for example. So why would you expect those light rays to be getting refracted in space?
Well, there is no space. Okay.
There's no space.
There's no such thing.
How do you know that?
Because if you put your hands together, is there something between your hands?
Yeah, space.
Okay, so are you saying that things never touch?
I'm just trying to understand where you're going with this.
Just answer one question at a time.
What do you mean by things never touch?
If you put your hands together, is there anything between them? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, if you pull them apart, is there anything between them?
Yeah.
Right. So in space, they say that there's a few hydrogen particles per cubic meter with nothing in between. If there was nothing in between, they'd be touching.
Well, that's not necessarily true.
Okay, well then show me nothing.
Why would they be touching if there's space in between them?
Well, if there was nothing between them, they'd be touching.
Why?
Because that's just how it is. And you
No,
admitted.
that's not how it is. The molecules of hydrogen would not be touching each other. I don't understand why you you think that.
So there's nothing between them, but they're separated. Is that what you're saying?
There's not nothing in between them. There's space in between them.
No. Okay. What is space?
An area devoid of matter.
Area of what?
Just space, just empty space.
Right. Space of what?
What do you mean space of what?
So you're saying space isn't nothing. So what is it? And now you're
I never
saying,
said space was nothing. I just said that it's an area devoid of matter. And that's not even what the current definition of what space is, because space does have matter. It just has less atmosphere than the surface of Earth.
okay, what is between the hydrogen atoms in quote unquote space?
Empty space.
Which is what? Space of what?
Dark matter. I'm not too familiar with what the current model for space is, but
And dark matter is what?
matter, I presume.
Okay, but before you said that there wasn't, that space is an area devoid of matter.
Well, just because I've chosen to take a hypothetical path with you, because you're doing the game that we spoke of earlier, where you're trying to get me to jump through hoops in a means of you avoiding answering any flat Earth questions.
Well, look, I already told you how I feel about this stuff, and I've already demonstrated to you that the concept of space is nonsense. There's
Well, I
stuff
don't
everywhere.
even know why we're talking about space.
Because your whole
I
paradigm.
premised this by saying I'd rather talk about things that are objective to everybody, like surveying. That's something that we can all do. We can't all go into space, but we can all get theodolites and we can all make measurements. That's
Yeah, you
something
could.
that everybody in here can do right
Yeah,
now.
you could look through atmosphere and you could get an average amount of refraction, throw out the measurements that don't fit the model, and then say, look, Earth is a ball. Okay? You could do that.
Yeah, we could, and if all of this is wrong and goofy according to you, why don't you suggest a better way of doing this? What's
Because
a better way of discerning our reality?
I'm not God. I don't know what the best way is.
So how does this help humanity, where we're stuck in a position where we can't know anything? We're never going to know anything. We're just going to be in limbo where we don't understand anything and we're ignorant for the rest of our lives. How is this how is this progressing humanity in any kind of way? At
Well, you're
least the
asking.
role model is providing an epistemology that we can work with, regardless of whether it's true or not. It's still a start. You guys don't even have anything. You're just saying we don't understand anything and we're never going to figure anything out. I don't feel like that's a productive position to take.
Well, that's your opinion, and if you want my story, I can't
Well,
convince you
it's
of it.
not my opinion, Jerry. It's reality. Because where do you go from here? If you want to learn more about the world that you live in, what are you going to do from this point?
There's not much you can do. Okay.
So
Either
you're just not going to know anything ever, and you're satisfied with that?
I don't think you can know. All you could do is just have stories. You could know what you see, and you could accept the stories told by maps and space agencies and geodetic surveyors if you want. But if the observations don't match, then there's a problem.
Yeah, there is a problem because the observations don't match flat Earth. And that's what you're claiming, is
No,
that
they
we're on
don't.
a
They
stationary
don't.
flat Earth, but all the observations we make are in contradiction with this.
No, they don't match glob. Okay.
If they don't match globe, then why do people believe in the globe?
Because they believe. I don't
No,
care.
they believe in it because they've been provided with evidence to make them believe in this.
Okay,
You
good.
believe in flat Earth because you watch videos on YouTube.
Now you're arguing with someone who isn't me.
Yeah, I'm arguing with you. You're ignorant because you're willfully choosing to be ignorant. You're provided with evidence which you choose to reject
Okay, well, you asked me through.
in favor of this position where you can't know anything. And I'm just trying to figure out why you're choosing to do that.
You brought up things, and I explained to you why I thought they were nonsense. We talked about space. We talked about light. We talked about surveying. I told you my problems with all of them. So
You actually did what I expected you would do, which was you asked me to provide you with evidence, which I did, which you rejected, and then you took
No,
this position where there's just like nothing we can ever know, and all evidence is just flawed, and that's exactly what I predicted you were going to do.
because I don't want to go back and forth with stories. I don't believe that um, truth could be discovered through this, dialectical reasoning, where two opposing sides come together and figure it all out. No, no, no. I believe that the truth is right in front of you. You need to accept it. There is no argument. There is no discussion. There is no or what do you?
All right, so you're saying that all of these things involve presuppositions. Let's use an example to be more specific. If I took a sextant or a clinometer, and if I moved back 69 miles and I observed Polaris dropping 1 degree every 69 miles, what presuppositions are involved with that measurement?
I have to ask you. All I could say in reality is that you just moved 69 miles.
Now you said that the globe Earth the globe Earth observations require presuppositions, but
That's right.
you can't arrive at them simply by making measurements. And I'm providing you with an example of a measurement, and I'm trying to figure out where the presupposition in this measurement is.
Okay, what did you say that you did?
I said if I was to take a sextant or a clinometer and move away from Polaris 69 miles and notice that it drops by 1 degree every 69 miles, what presupposition am I making by doing this?
I don't think you are. You're just moving.
Exactly, and what I notice when I make this measurement is that the rate of drop or progression is a linear rate, which is something that you wouldn't expect on a flat Earth. You would expect it to be non-linear.
Okay.
So just based on that observation, that debunks flat Earth. Because I'm providing you with an observation that wouldn't be possible on one model, but would be plausible on a different model.
No, but reality says that you just moved 69 miles. That's it. That's all you did.
Yeah, and we noticed that Polaris dropped by 1 degree. This
Yeah.
is a measurement that has been done objectively by several different people. So
Right.
you said that
Assuming.
all of these globe Earth evidences involve presuppositions, and I just provided you with one that doesn't. And you
Right,
simply
but
choose to reject it just because
because
it's not congruent with what you choose to believe is reality.
you're giving me an observation. Now, what conclusion have you come to?
The only rational conclusion that I'm left with that this observation is only possible on a globe Earth.
And what are you assuming about that star or any of the stars?
I'm not assuming anything. I'm just wondering why it's dropping at a linear rate rather than a non-linear rate.
Well, that's your problem.
Well, it's not a problem for me. It's a problem for anyone that has a contradictory opinion to this.
I don't have a contradictory opinion. All I know is in reality, you just moved 69 miles. Who gives a
You
crap?
do have a contradictory opinion because in your paradigm, this wouldn't be possible.
What? Driving 69 miles?
No, a linear rate of progression with Polaris would be impossible on a planar surface.
All you did was go 69 miles.
Yeah, how does that work on your model?
You drive 69 miles.
No, but it wouldn't though. You see, this is the thing. Whenever you're provided with anything that's contradictory to your model, you just say that it would work on yours, and you don't provide any evidence for how that would work.
Are you
Or
saying we can't drive 69 miles on a flat Earth?
yeah, we can, but I'm telling you that the observation with Polaris is not what you would expect to see on a flat Earth.
Okay, let me jump into the world of imagination now, okay? Couldn't I just say that it's bendy light?
You could say that, yeah. But then you can't just make claims and not go into further detail as to how that would actually work.
Right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, well, we've come a long way in understanding light, and we know that it's bendy.
Okay, and how does this support this observation?
Because the light is bendy.
What direction is it bending in?
Whatever way you need it to fit your model.
What we don't need it to fit any particular model. What we need to consider is how light actually behaves in this specific medium.
Oh,
The
okay,
medium
so
we're
let's
talking
talk about
is,
it.
is the atmosphere.
Right, and then I just told you that there's no such thing as space. We don't know what light is. So now we're back to square one. Just
We're not
driving
talking
69
about space.
miles.
We're talking about Polaris and the
How,
observations made here on Earth.
okay, how far away is Polaris?
I don't know. We're just observing it. We're observing it drop by 1 degree every 69 miles. Regardless of how far away it is, why is this happening on your model?
It doesn't matter. We're trying to figure out what is going on with light.
Yeah, okay. We can start from there. We're trying to figure out what's going on with light. We've
Mhm.
agreed that light bends, and have we agreed that we understand how it bends, or have we not agreed upon that?
I'm saying that it could be bendy light. Okay. Now,
So you've switched to saying that it is bendy light as the reason for why this is happening to it could be. So which one is it? Is it bendy light that's making this happening? Is it
well,
bendy light that's making this happen, or is it not?
if you remember what I said at the beginning, I said, let me jump into the world of imagination and just say that it's bendy light.
Yeah, but why are we jumping into the world of imagination when what we're doing here
Exactly.
doesn't involve imagination? We're simply just making a measurement and questioning why we're having these observations. What does this
Exactly.
have anything to do with imagination?
Because you don't know what the star is. You don't know how the light is being propagated. You know nothing. All you
Do
did
we
was
need
drive
to know what
69
it is
miles.
to make a measurement of it?
You're, you would
If
have
I
to
observe Polaris to
assume
be
things.
dropping, if I observe Polaris to be dropping by 1 degree every 69 miles, does it matter what it is? It could be anything. It could be a basketball. It could be a plane or a bird in the sky. Does it matter what it is for it to be doing that? The question is, why is it doing that in the first place?
Right. That's the question. And we couldn't get anywhere until we jumped into the world of imagination about light.
But we have gotten somewhere. We've made a measurement and we've noticed that it's dropping by 1 degree.
And that's all you
Am I
did.
not getting somewhere with this?
And that's all you did. Like I said from the very
But
beginning.
how else would we do this then? Is there a better way? Since you're saying that this is a flawed methodology, could you provide a better way of doing this?
I didn't say it was flawed. I said you just drove 69 miles. Who gives a crap?
We just made a measurement that substantiated the globe Earth model, is what we've done.
No, you drove somewhere and said, look, this fits a model. It must be the model.
No, that's not what. That's absolutely not what happened.
Okay.
So the key point to take here is that you said that most observations involve belief systems and stories and imagination, and when provided with one that doesn't involve any of that, you simply just rejected it. So it
No,
appears
if
that
I were to
there's
come
nothing
up,
that can actually be shown to you that you'd be willing to accept, so
if
long as it contradicts flat Earth. If it's
if I,
congruent with flat
oh
Earth,
boy,
you just eat it up and accept it, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. You would just be willing to accept it as long as it's congruent with flat Earth. But anything that is not congruent with flat Earth will be instantly rejected. Isn't that right?
If you remember what I said earlier, is that flat Earth is a story, globe Earth is a story.
Right. And where does this leave you? This leaves you with nothing, Jerry. This leaves you in a position where you have nothing. You don't know what the world is. You don't know. You don't know anything, and I just don't see how that's productive in any kind of way.
Well, if my answers frighten you, you should cease asking scary questions.
Why is this? Why does this have to be scary unless?
Because you said, "Oh, we can't know
really,
anything."
You see, the problem with a lot of you guys is that this is really important to you because a lot of you guys really believe that Earth is flat, and you really believe that there's this control system that's trying to hide everything from you, and that's why you're doing this in the first place.
You're all over the
I
road.
can sort of empathize with you because I was in that position. I've been in this for like almost 6 years now, and when I was a hardcore flat earther, that's exactly how I was. I totally believe that there was a control system in place that was keeping all of this information secret. But when you start to think about this rationally, you start to realize that that's just not possible. Like a secret like this can't be hidden from anybody. Like the infrastructure that would be required to uphold this type of secret is just impossible, I think.
Okay, do you believe in God?
No.
Okay, so what you're saying is that there's a massive conspiracy involving billions of people to hide the fact that God does not exist. Is that what you're telling me?
When did I say that?
You
I
said
never said that.
you said you did not believe in God.
No, I don't. But that doesn't mean that there's a system in place to hide God from me. I never said any of that.
Well, there must be, okay, because billions of people have their evidence for him.
Well, that evidence is weak.
Right.
That's why I choose not to believe in it.
That's my point. Okay,
Just
evidence
like
is
flat Earth evidence is weak
evidence
and
is
ambiguous and open to more than one interpretation, which is why I choose
evidence
not to believe in it.
is subjective. Evidence is subjective.
No,
That's always been my point.
real evidence is objective. Just like the measurements I told you of Polaris, that's something that you can do yourself and yield the same result as everybody else. So these aren't subjective interpretations of reality. They're in fact objective because more than one person can do them and get the same result. If they were in fact subjective, then that would mean that only one person would be doing this and getting a different result from everyone else. And we don't see that happening.
Is there anything else I could help you with, or do you want to just continue to vent about your frustrations with the flat Earth community?
I totally am not venting with any kind of frustration.
Because I found that you're speaking of some kind of abstract they that you've turned flat Earthers into.
Well,
You've told me about how
is Flat Earth not a group of individuals? Is that not what this is?
well you're arguing with me.
Yeah, but you're part of this group, though.
You don't know what I am.
Group of individuals that all have this shared belief.
Well, argue with me.
Okay, I argued with you, and I proved how you were wrong.
Whatever you want. All I know is that I could show you what makes me think it is a flat Earth.
Right, and I can show you how you're wrong, and that wouldn't make any difference. This is what I meant when I said that these discussions are sort of pointless.
They are.
Because you're not going to change your mind, I'm not going to change my mind. So it's more so about the people that are actually listening, which is why I wanted to do this in an area where there are more people that were sort of on the fence. Because here, no one's going to change their mind. They already have their mind made up. The Earth is flat, regardless of whatever is shown to them.
And
So
they're going to change their mind in
here
gems?
is not going to be considered in any kind of way. But if I was talking to individuals that were sort of on the fence and willing to sort of analyze the information, the results would be different.
Well, here's what happens. Okay, is that both sides fill up their heads with memes. Okay, there's flat Earth memes, right? And then you got globe Earth memes that rebut the memes, and it's just meme wars. Meanwhile,
Actually, no, there's
hold on.
globe Earth memes. There's only flat Earth memes of you
Right,
guys making fun of the globe.
WS, right?
Yeah, WS posts facts. He doesn't post pictures of like people making fun of the globe. He just posts information.
Right. Yeah.
But what you guys tend to do is post like
But
satire.
the point,
and, like,
the point is that there's still no such thing as space, and the theory of light is horseshit.
I can agree with you that space might be fake, but we do understand light and how light behaves through different media. So by you saying that, is this your way of rejecting all of
sure.
the surveying and all the observations that are made here on Earth?
Okay, well, here's what I understand about light, okay? Okay,
Go ahead.
you ask, what is light, right? So you look it up, and it's energy, okay? And then you look up, okay, what is energy? That's radiation, okay? Radiation of what? Okay. And then it says electromagnetic wave, okay? Wave of what? Okay, so then you look into that, and it's wave of the field. Field of what? Energy. And then what is energy? Radiation. A wave, a field. There is nothing there. What you have in reality is the apparent displacement of objects in the distance, and we infer from that rays of light are bending. But
right. So regardless of whether we know what light is or
no, that is the whole thing.
Have any further information describing any of that stuff that you mentioned, does that impede us from understanding how light moves through different media?
Yeah, because you don't see the light.
Yeah, we do. We observe light bending through different media.
No, you observe lasers. Lasers is not sunlight.
And lasers are not light?
They're not sunlight.
Okay, and what about when we observe superior or inferior mirages, which are in fact optical phenomena involving light?
What about them?
Is that not evidence for refraction or light bending through a media?
That's evidence of objects being apparently displaced through a quote-unquote medium.
They're being displaced by refraction, which is happening within that media of the atmosphere.
Okay.
Yeah, and you said that we haven't made any observations of actual light per se. We only looked at lasers doing this, but I just proved that you're wrong because we have made observations of light bending through the atmosphere by observing inferior and superior mirages.
No, you see the object being apparently displaced, which is what I said.
But why is it being displaced in the first place?
Exactly.
We're ignoring the explanations for why these things are happening and just saying
you're telling me
it's being displaced and we don't know why. And
you are telling me
hold on.
You're telling me that is because the light is bending. Bullshit.
Why else would that happen?
No, that's an argument from ignorance.
No, that's an argument with evidence.
No, it's not. Okay, then if you have evidence of sunlight bending, show me.
We already discussed why the sun doesn't bend, or the light rays being cast by the sun don't bend, because they come in from really far away, and they all come in parallel.
Yeah, far away, which means space, right? Which we couldn't come to a agreement about what the hell that is, right? So this is all bullshit, man.
No, it's not bullshit, because in order for light rays to be refracted within a stratified media, like the atmosphere, the light rays have to pass through that media diagonally. If you had studied light and refraction, you would know this. You would know that any light that's coming in at a perpendicular angle to that media is not going to be refracted. It has to travel diagonally.
Okay, can you show me the empirical observation of light, of sunlight bending? That's all you need to do.
I can't show you that because sunlight doesn't bend.
Okay, so what it would, so you're saying that what the path of it bends?
Actually, you know what? I'm willing to take that back because depending on the position of the sun, if it's not at a zenith angle, like if it's not directly above you and it's like closer to the horizon, the light will tend to bend because it's approaching that atmospheric media at a different angle as opposed to it being at a 90-degree angle above your head.
Yeah, that's a story that you've been told without seeing actual
No,
sunlight.
that's a plausible explanation
I
using
don't
evidence.
I don't need a plausible explanation. I need you to show me what the sunlight is doing.
So you're not looking for rational or plausible explanations. You just want me to show you stuff in a Discord platform. You see, this
I'm,
is why this is ridiculous. Because how can I possibly show you something in this media that we're using right now? You're
it's
demanding for things that you know would be difficult for me to perform in order for you to claim victory in this debate. And this
I've
is
been
why
looking
it's
for this shit for
disgusting.
years, man. Okay, I've been looking for this stuff for years. It doesn't exist. Okay,
So
just admit.
no one has ever shown you light bending or refraction. You've never ever seen that before.
No one has ever shown me sunlight. Period.
Now that's ridiculous, Jerry, because everybody on Earth has seen sunlight.
No, they
So
haven't.
are you saying that's a bit of a ridiculous claim?
No, they haven't. They see objects. You don't see light.
You don't see light. So what is sunlight then?
That's the question, sir.
You're saying that the sun is not casting light. So what is it actually doing?
Well, we're talking about light, not the sun.
Okay, so you know, I'm having a difficult time.
Yeah, I know.
No, just because you're making this, you're breaking this down to such a simplistic way of looking at things that I just feel is disingenuous. You know,
It's
because
not.
you're pretending that all of this stuff is not understood when we know that that's far from the truth. Like a lot of these things that we're discussing have well been documented and understood for several years.
It's all documented
It's
horseshit.
not until you're trying to claim that it's not until you stumbled upon this and everybody else was oblivious of this
No,
fact.
everybody
You came
believes us.
across it. That seems kind of ridiculous, don't you think?
Everybody believes a story.
No, people don't believe in stories. People
Okay, then
believe
show me
in
the
belief.
objective evidence of what sunlight is doing.
I choose to believe in these things because there are people that are more qualified than you and myself that have actually performed these tests and come to these conclusions. That's why I
Good,
choose to believe it.
good. You could choose to believe that.
Like I'm not going to listen to a bunch of people that don't have the qualifications to speak on this topic. Doesn't it make sense to get this information from people that are actually qualified to talk about this stuff
That's
rather
what
than
I
just
have done.
random people that are making claims on Discord?
I have done that, and I've sent you sources, and you say, "Oh no, 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 that's all old stuff." And then
Well, no,
I ask you,
you
"Hold
haven't
on."
done that. In fact, what does happen
Now
is
you just
that when you guys tend to talk to people that are qualified on this subject matter, you get destroyed. It's only in flat Earth servers like this or Nathan Oakley's server where you can actively mute people and sort of like dominate over them, where flat Earth actually wins. But when you actually talk to people that know what they're talking about, real professionals, then it's a different story.
well, maybe I should not be talking to you then because you can't show me shit.
Well, maybe not. And you knew this initially that I wasn't going to convince you of anything.
You're
I already
goddamn right.
premised this argument by saying that, and you've just proven that there's nothing that can be shown to you that's ever going to change your mind.
You can't show me anything. Okay, because you did not make the Earth. Okay, men cannot
That
explain
perhaps
the
may be
Earth.
true. I can't show you anything that can convince you. But then that only further proves that you're not taking an honest uh, truth or position.
We could
Because
go to
before,
Wikipedia
that would
right
mean
now.
that you'd be open to different interpretations of
We
reality.
could, you could.
You'd scrutinize them critically to try and see if they're real or not.
Well,
But it seems like you're
I've
only
told
open
you
to
how I've
one.
scrutinized this stuff. I've told you how I've scrutinized this stuff, and then you said that I'm just being simplistic. But at the
Well, yeah, it
base
seems like
level,
your criticism, like your harsh criticism, is only directed towards the globe Earth. But then, when in terms of flat Earth, you don't apply the same scrutiny that you would to the globe. You just seem to accept really vague and ambiguous explanations that
for what?
support your epistemology, but
I
everything
haven't
else
given you any. I haven't given you any explanations. I've already told you that I can't convince you of my explanations, aka stories, aka
Well,
beliefs.
I told you how you could convince me, just like you told me how I could convince you by providing you with demonstrations, which would be kind of ridiculous for me to do that right now because I can't do that. And I also told you that in order for me to be convinced, I would have to be shown evidence, and you haven't done that. You've only made claims that aren't substantiated by anything.
Okay, I told you that the theory of light is bullshit. I've explained why. I've told you about space. Told you that the moon, sun, stars all move. Told you that the horizon is flat. I told you about surveying. Okay, I told you about pendulums, gyroscopes. Uh, so what else? It's like, where am I supposed to go? Do you want to go back and forth about, oh, NASA faked this video. Oh, look, he pulled this doll out of the air. Oh, look, his hand went through a lemon. Oh, no, 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 that's
I
just
feel like those are weak. Those are weak and silly arguments, and
right,
those are
right.
sort
Who
of like
cares?
2015 flat Earth arguments, and I feel like we've progressed a lot further from that, and
Right,
a
which
lot of
is
people
why.
don't do that anymore. But in order for you to make a stronger case, what I would suggest is that you actually work on having evidence to show to support what you're saying, rather than you just saying you don't believe in things just because of your personal incredulity.
There
I
is
don't feel
no
like that's a strong
incredulity.
position to take. It might be a strong position in your mind or in your personal opinion, but to other people it's not. To other people it just looks like you're incredulous and you're not willing to accept anything that contradicts your.
I'm not being incredulous. Do you want to talk about space again and how it's bullshit?
No, because you want to talk about space because you know that that's not where I want to go. You're
Because
willing to
that's what
go.
this whole thing is rooted in. Okay, I don't want to go back and forth about memes. Who gives a fuck? Okay, you go
How is this
right
all rooted in space, though? How's
because
this
your whole
rooted in space?
paradigm needs space. These ginormous distances.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
No, it doesn't. We already concluded that we're only gonna focus on objective evidence that we can all that we all have access to. And
Okay.
outer space and all this stuff that only astronauts and space programs have access to, we're not going to consider that because that's not objective.
They don't have access to it because it doesn't exist.
Well, that may be the case, but we have access to different methodologies that we can use to discern our reality, other
which
than
come,
relying on space agencies.
which come with the presuppositions of a globe conception.
No, they don't, because I provided you with an observation that had zero presuppositions, which was the measurement of the angles to Polaris.
All you did was
What
drive
presuppositions are
69
involved with
miles.
that?
All you did was drive 69 miles, and you called the spacing of the star a degree. Like degree of what? Space? Like what are you talking about? All you did was
No,
just
a degree as in
drive.
like an angle measurement. It has nothing to do with space. It has everything to do with us measuring things here on Earth.
Good. Then you measured the ground. Now all you need to do, okay, if you want to prove your little globe, just fly all the way around north south along a single line of longitude, and then I'm out.
From my understanding, that's already been done.
Okay, please show me.
I can't show you that right now. I don't have that right now. The people that are more suited to provide this evidence, like Kool-Aid. I think he knows
Yeah,
a bit about circumnavigation. I haven't looked into it as much to make any
yeah. Kool-Aid
valid
sees dots.
arguments.
Kool-Aid sees dots on a map and said, "Look, this can't happen." It's like, no, but it did happen.
Well,
Okay,
at least Kool-Aid even has a map. You don't have anything. If
maps
I was
are
to position you
stories.
somewhere on Earth using your epistemology, you couldn't go anywhere. You'd be lost. You wouldn't even know where you are.
Maps are stories that we choose to believe.
No, maps are useful tools, which is why they're used for navigation.
I
And
agree.
none of them flatter the model
So
in any kind of
the
way.
the Bible is a useful tool too. Okay, but it's still
No,
just a
the
story.
Bible is a storybook.
It-
It's not a tool. It's not anything that we can use practically here on Earth. What
correct.
practical use does the Bible have?
I'm not.
You trying to compare that to maps that are used in navigation is extremely disingenuous.
Maps are stories. Okay, you haven't been everywhere on the earth.
No,
Okay,
maps are tools that have practical use. You saying that
good.
they're just stories and they have no meaning is you being profoundly dishonest.
You believe the story of these routes that you take. Okay, but all you did was just travel somewhere.
Right, so if all these maps are fake and
I'm
they're
not
not
saying they're fake.
depictions of reality, then why are they used for navigation?
I'm not saying they're fake. I'm saying that they're stories.
Right, so if they're just stories, which is your way of sort of making this look ridiculous, then why are they used for navigation?
Because these routes are flown all the time, and that's it. No one's gone all over the place.
So we fly these routes using maps that are projected from globe models, yet they don't have any practical use and they're just stories.
I didn't say that they didn't have practical use, but they are
Well, you try
stories.
you try to say that they're a story as a means of sort of making them look ridiculous. But I'm just
No,
I'm just proving that that's not true. That they actually
no.
have practical use and they're used regularly by real professionals.
When you go somewhere, you 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 get a map, and then you start to formulate a story about how you're going to get there, and then you say, "This map can tell me that story." In reality, you're just going from A to B. You're not going all over the map and seeing if the whole thing is true. You're just going from A to B because millions of people most likely have already gone from A to B.
Right. So when two pilots are in the cockpit of a plane and they're navigating their way across the surface of Earth, are they telling each other stories, or are they actually using a practical model that was developed off of the globe?
They're looking at a story and they believe it. That's
How is
it.
that? You're not explaining how it's a story, though.
Because you
You're just
believe
being
it.
vague and ambiguous.
No, you see these maps and you say, okay, this is Earth. I'm going to believe the map. I'm not saying that it's wrong. Um, yeah.
If it was a belief system, then it wouldn't work.
What was that?
Because how can I use something that's not real and have it work? That's a part that I don't understand.
I already told you because most likely you aren't the first one to go from where you are to somewhere else. Okay,
No, the
you
point
haven't.
the point that I'm making is that these maps, when 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 they're taken from projections of a globe model, we tend to see congruency with that model. But then when we take these maps and we put them on a flat model, they don't tend to work.
Good.
You're saying that they're not real, yet they're used for navigation.
I'm not saying that they aren't real. I'm saying that they're stories that you believe.
So why
Okay,
do these stories comport with reality? If they're not based in reality, why do they comport with reality?
they comport to what people have done millions of times before. Okay, like there's areas like the North Pole, Antarctica. There's vast expanses of the Pacific Ocean that nobody would like practically go to. So why would they, you know, go there? They wouldn't. So they would take these known routes, and that's it.
Right, and these known routes have specific distances. Just like you said, we're going from point A to point B, and that's a distance that we can measure.
Right, that's one distance. Okay, but what happens in reality is there is one distance from A to B. In reality, you will never travel that exact distance.
You will travel that exact distance because the timing's always matched. When the pilot tells you we're going to arrive at this destination within this time, most likely you are going to arrive there at that time. Granted that there aren't any delays or any route changes, you certainly will arrive at that location at that time. Now the question here is, if these are all stories, then why is it that when we take these distances and put them on different models, they don't seem to comport with those different models? They only seem to comport with one kind of model.
I'm not saying that just because it's a story means that it's bad or not useful.
You're saying that it's a story, meaning that it's not valid. It's not based in reality.
No, I mean, it's a story that you choose to believe. And I choose to believe for certain things.
How can a story have practical use in reality? How can I take something that's based on fiction and have it yield factual results in reality?
I
How
could
can
say
that
the
happen?
same thing about the Bible. Like, who cares?
Well, the Bible is not based in reality, though.
Says you.
We can take specific things from the Bible and see if they comport with reality, and see that they don't, and
And then I
conclude
could
from that
just
that
say,
it's
"Oh,
not
you just
reality.
don't understand. Oh, you're just choosing to be ignorant. Oh, you're an idiot." Right? We could do that back and forth, right? At the end of the day,
No,
you
no, no. We
choose to
can't
believe.
do that. We can take examples from a storybook like the Bible, where they're talking lizards and there's people walking on water, and see that
Hmm.
those examples don't comport with things in reality. But
And
then
then
when
I
you
could
take
say
the
that God
globe,
could do
which you're
that.
saying is a story, and try and compare it with reality, it comports. So how can a story that's based on fiction comport with things in the real world?
I could just say that you're misinterpreting. You just don't understand. We've come a long way in our understanding. Who are you to question God? You're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. Just like globists do. Okay? At the end of the
Okay,
day,
so
it's a story you
I'm
believe.
not understanding things that don't comport with reality, like the Bible, for example. But then the Bible presents ideas that aren't based in reality. So we can exclude it as being a factual depiction of reality just on that basis. But by you saying that the globe is a story, when in fact, in actuality, it comports with reality, proves that it's not a story.
It doesn't comport with reality because the sun moves. You say that it's not.
So you've chosen to change the subject now because clearly navigation does comport with the globe model. So you choose to switch to a different topic.
I I agreed that the distances of known routes are probably correct. All the rest, like the North Pole, South Pole, the huge expanse of the Pacific Ocean, like who the hell else knows? They could all be fudged
Where's
and
your evidence
whatever.
for that claim? Where's your
I don't have
evidence
any.
that we don't know what the rest of the world looks like?
I don't have any. It's a belief.
It is a belief, yeah.
Thank you.
No, I was using that in reference to you. Everything you're saying is a belief system and isn't based on any kind of reality.
I don't have to say that I believe the sun is moving. I see it moving. Period.
You also would have to support that with measurements that you've done. You
I'm
don't
not
just
going to
look
measure
at
the
things
sun.
and make claims. That's what a religion is. A religion is based on claims that can't be substantiated in reality.
Good. Then show me the Earth moving.
This has been shown to you a multitude of times with gyroscopes
Right.
and pendulums, but just like I said, you tend to critically analyze these and reject them because they don't comport with your paradigm.
You're going to show me something that isn't the Earth and say that the Earth is moving.
Okay,
It's,
so how do
nonsense.
we measure? We need tools in order to make measurements. If I want to know how tall I am, I need to use some kind of calibrated scale. It's not enough to just look at things and make conclusions. So we have to use a tool in order to measure Earth's rotation. We can't just look at the sun and say, oh, look, the sun's moving, therefore the sky is moving or the Earth's moving.
I'm not
No, that's
saying
not enough. We need to perform tests that yield objective results. And that's already been done. It's already been shown to you a billion times, but you just choose to reject it because of your incredulity.
and you choose to go back and forth with memes, bro. Like this is circular.
Well, I have to admit that initially I thought I could sort of maybe, change your opinion in some kind of way. But I'm starting to realize that I can't because you're you're steadfast in this belief system and there's nothing that can be shown to you that's going to change that in any kind of way. Because either you're getting some kind of personal narcissistic gain from doing this by believing that you're smarter than real scientists and real professionals, that you have personally managed to unveil or understand something that's been oblivious to all these guys for this entire length of time. That's your sort of narcissistic gain from doing this. Because you're not like the other guys. You're not like the Nathan Oakleys or the Bob Nodells. They gain from this in some different type of way, either monetarily or narcissistically. But you're clearly just doing this for narcissistic gain. Because doesn't it make you feel good to pretend that you're smarter than Einstein and all these professionals?
I've
Isn't
read
that
Einstein.
the reason why you're doing this?
I've read Max Born. I've read Einstein. I've read Newton. Who gives a fuck about what I've read?
No, but all of those people contradict everything that you're saying.
No, it's just not rooted in reality.
So that would mean that either they have no idea what they're talking about, or they're lying,
They
or
had
either you're smarter than they are and have a better understanding of reality than they do.
no. When you see an object, you see mass, you see density. When you see something floating, you see buoyancy, but you don't see that in reality. You just see the object. You just see something floating, and then you need to invent things like mass, density, volume, uh, whatever the hell. These are all inventions of the mind.
No, that's not true. Several tests have been done to debunk a lot of these things that you're saying. And in terms of gravity, gravity is in fact something that has been proven. It is factual that everything is attracted to the surface of the Earth. Majority of things, despite specific things like helium balloons or bubbles or whatever, but majority of things that do have mass are attracted to Earth. So how would that happen using only relative density? What would give objects that have mass a bias in one direction? Because if
Then
it was only relative density that was causing the downward phenomena that we observe, wouldn't you expect things to be moving in all directions towards the lowest area of density?
density is bullshit.
No, it's not actually.
Okay, show me density.
The conclusion that the phenomenon of gravity is only caused by density, now that is bullshit. Because relative density is in fact a function of gravity. Without gravity, you wouldn't have any of these things happening. You wouldn't have buoyancy, you wouldn't have relative density, and you wouldn't even have mass without gravity. So they're
Well, that's
all
just
sort of um, interlaced with each other, but you guys choose to extrapolate only one aspect of it and say that that's the only thing that's going on. But there are several ways we can debunk that. I can even give you an example right now that's going to debunk that right now. If we have 1 kilogram of water and we have 2 kilograms of water, they both have different weight values, but they're both the same density. That therefore proves that there's another variable at play, which is weight. Because if it was only density that was causing the downward vector, increasing the volume between these two different masses wouldn't make any difference. But we notice that there's a difference.
I don't use relative density as a way to explain why things fall down.
No, you just seem to remain in this vague, ambiguous area where you don't understand anything, you don't know anything, but you certainly know that the globe is not reality.
Well,
Which
you
is
want to
kind
know
of
why?
a weird position to be in
You
my
want to know
opinion.
why? Do you want to know
Yeah,
why?
why? Go ahead.
Because look, I'm going to drop this pen. Okay? Watch this. Oh, look. Okay, now I saw the pen fall. What I didn't see was the story of why that pen is falling. Okay?
Well,
That's
the
it.
pen is falling because of gravity. Why does everything get attracted to the surface of Earth? Let's start with that. Why does that happen to begin
You're
with?
already begging the question. You're saying attracted.
How am I begging the question when that's what we observe in reality?
Because you're saying attracted.
Okay, so what's happening then when I pick something up and it always falls to the ground? What is happening in that scenario?
Here, I'll do it again. Hold on, let me get my pen here. Oh, look, the story didn't pop out of thin air.
Why is it wrong for us to conclude that the largest mass, which would be Earth, is what is attracting everything that's made of mass? Why would it
Because you
be
don't
wrong
know.
for us to conclude that?
You don't know that Earth has a specific mass. You want to know why? Because the way you got it was observing things that weren't it, like orbits. You saw
Well,
how all
we
the
don't know
orbits
what
were.
we may not know what the specific mass of Earth is, but we can conclude that Earth is the largest mass in existence, in our existence at least.
Yeah, you could call it a mass, but to give it this almost soul-like property of it having mass is is presumptuous. To call the
Why
Earth,
would Earth not have mass when everything made of matter has mass?
because you don't know what the Earth is. You don't know that it's an object sitting in space. You just see things
Well,
fall,
but
man.
we know that the Earth is made of matter, so by virtue of that, it would in fact have mass as well.
No, mass is bullshit. Okay, there is no
No,
mass.
here we go with your incredulity again.
No,
It is
it's
not bullshit, no.
okay. Great, great. Where is it?
Well, what do you mean, where is it?
Okay, I'm holding a pen. Now, where is the soul of the? Oh, I mean, mass of this pen. Where is it?
Um, I don't understand what the question is.
Where is the mass of the pen? Do you have a pen, or do you have mass?
That entire volume that that pen occupies would be the pen's mass
Volume of what?
of space.
See, there is no space. See, you see space and mass and volume. No, there's only stuff.
Okay, so an
And then,
object made of mass doesn't occupy a volume according to you.
no, there is no uh, mass. Okay.
Well, you're just saying that. The fact that you're saying that doesn't make it true.
Well, I could show you that there's no mass.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, pick up a pen. Look at anything now. Where's the mass?
Things. There's certain things that we can't perceive with our naked eyes. That doesn't follow that they don't exist. We
I
can
didn't
use
say that.
microscopes to see things that would normally not be perceivable.
I didn't say that. Can you show me mass under a
That's what you're
microscope?
implying. You're sort of implying that there's certain things that just because we can't see them means that they don't exist, and
No.
that's not true.
No. Can you show me mass under a microscope?
It depends on what you mean by that, because we're always looking at mass.
Right. You say that. I say you're just looking at a pen, or you're just looking at an apple. You say that all matter has this soul called mass in it. That's like all matter is infused with this mass. No.
Well, since you're turning this into like a sort of semantic discussion, how do you even know that a pen is a pen? Isn't that just the name that we chose to call it? We just chose to call it a pen. So what is a pen if that's just something that we named it? You know, you're taking this direction where we can't know anything, and I just feel like that's completely disingenuous. We have
No,
to
that
we have
is
to provide
your
a sort
that
of
is
system where we name things in order to categorize them and understand them. We can't just be vague and not know anything, because that doesn't yield any kind of results.
that is your projection.
No,
Okay.
that is reality.
If questioning all these terms means that you need to question your very existence and the existence of pens and apples, that is your problem.
Right. Now, I just
And
looked
that's
up the definition for what mass is. I may have described it wrong because I was sort of freestyling in this debate, but I'm just going to provide the actual definition for mass and see whether this has anything to do with reality or whether it doesn't comport with reality in any kind of way. So, mass is both a property of a physical body and a measure of its resistance to acceleration. Which part of that doesn't comport with reality?
what are you talking about?
You said mass doesn't exist, so I'm trying to figure out, based on the definition of what mass is, which part of that makes it non-existent or not comport with reality.
The part where it says measurement.
So measurements are not part of this reality.
Well, the thing is part of reality. The measurement is an abstraction that is thought up.
No, the measurement is in fact part of reality. Everything we
No,
perceive is part of reality. You can't say that there are things in this reality that we perceive that aren't real.
right,
That doesn't make any sense. Everything we perceive with our senses is real.
right. You perceive it. You perceive the thing. You can't just have a measurement. You need a measurement of something.
Yeah, we perceive it. If I go to the gym and I pick up a 30-pound dumbbell, it feels heavy because I perceive mass. That's not a figment of my imagination. That's something that is in fact factual in reality.
No, mass is an abstraction.
No, you're just saying that mass is something that has been quantified in reality.
Quantify, okay, it's a quantification of what? Something in reality.
It's a quantification of a measure of something's resistance to acceleration.
Which is another measurement.
So
Which is
what's wrong with measurements? Let's start with that. What is your problem with measurements?
I don't have a problem with measurements.
Well, that's what you're implying. You're saying that just because it's a measurement, then it can't be reality. Isn't that what you're trying to imply by
No,
statement?
no. My point from the beginning was that if you're going to measure something, you need to compare with something in reality. You can't rely on abstract theories of light, mass, time, all these things. Okay, you need something in reality. Okay, so if I'm gonna,
And in fact, measurements are compared with other measurements. How do you know that something is 30 pounds if it's not in reference to different weights?
You just put it on a scale and the number pops up, and that's all you got.
We don't even have to put something on a scale. When I put it in my hands, I feel that it has weight, that it has mass.
No,
That is real.
you feel it. You feel this thing that we call heaviness or weight. But mass is an invention. I guess you could say that weight is too, but you know, when you pick something up, we describe it as heavy or light.
Yeah, and that's something that is. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. I might have to end this right now. But we could definitely do this again soon. This was fun. I enjoyed this a lot. And yeah, I'm gonna have to take this phone call. But yeah, let's do this again soon, Jerry.
All right, man.
That was pretty sick, you guys. That was good.
Think so?
You held the line, Jerry. You did all right.
Good. Did I say anything that you disagree with?
No, man. You would have said what I would have said. I'll be honest.
Does anybody
a lot
have
of stories, man. A lot of beliefs.
All right. Does anybody have any problems? Step up.
Yeah, we could kind of do riding or rigs, I guess, before we end it formally.
Yeah, we could do a little after show, even though yeah, he jumped out. But
that was awesome. I gotta be honest, that was fun to listen to.
Good. I had fun.
I thought that was good. I enjoyed it.
Good.
It was cool to be able to hear two people actually going through everything, you know, without, you know, all the other interruptions and stuff. That was awesome.
Yeah, he's a pretty nice guy.
He's clever, isn't he? That's the dangerous part.
Well, he thinks he is, but I think he met his match. I don't know, man. That's up for you guys to, you know, decide.
I don't think I've ever heard you guys ever even talk before.
No, I don't really talk that much at that length. But see, like what he does is like, if I go to Gems and I'm talking, he'll sit in the comments and say like, you know, Jerry's getting wrecked. It's like, dude, why don't you speak up? Okay, you got a problem.
Yeah, we kind of do that too, man. I do that too.
No. But like you and I do that kind of, you know, jokingly. But like him, he means it.
He's a different person on voice chat, isn't he? He's way more polite. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys need like another round, I feel like. That was kind of like a brick in the ice moment, I feel.
Yeah. You got to get past all the basic shit before you start talking about it.
Did you realize how often he doesn't really say what a lot of Globers say? I noticed that right off the bat. He started hitting you with stuff that you don't hear most Globers say. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
He kind of anticipated the reaction, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it kind of got obnoxious at certain points too, because it seemed like he was arguing with somebody else, and not me.
Yeah. That's the thing. I feel like a moderator could have jumped in to try to help you out on that, but like it was kind of going pretty okay. But yeah, I don't know if that's a tactic or if that's just like that's the first time I've ever heard it, you know. So it was fun. It was what'd you call it? Not random. It was
Spontaneous.
You didn't know spontaneous. You didn't really know what to anticipate. That was cool.
Right.
Yeah, Gio, what do you think? that could be like a little 1 hour debate segment thing of just, you know, maybe other people could try that out. That was great.
Yeah, we could do that. We could have, you know, different people go, you know, one-on-one without any, you know, peanut gallery hecklers.
You never really get to hear a good dialogue where everyone feels like they say, like, yeah, that needs to happen probably more often, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. When you know that you won't be interrupted, two guys might be able to do pretty well back and forth without too much moderation, as it were. You know, when they're able to do that, because one of the things that in the big room, when everyone's in there, when even if two guys are going back and forth, there's always someone else that jumps in, you know, because they want to add or they want to say something, whatever it may be. And so with that kind of quote unquote threat, meaning just that someone might jump in, even when it's like two guys talking back and forth, it's like they end up talking over each other because they know that they want to get in right after the other guy's finished. So anyways, yeah, something like this kind of format could kind of break that up a little bit and make it to where we can actually have like, just kind of more.
Has their own little 1v1. It doesn't have to be long. It could be like a 20-minute thing too, you know? Just like, let's clear the air. Let's settle this real quick here.
Yeah, exactly. And with the 3 live streams, we can always use one of them, you know, for doing it. Yeah.
I think that's the first time that's happened, Jerry. You're breaking ice out here, brother.
Good.
Yeah, that was, in a way, that was a first for this type of format. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, thank you, G. That was kind of spontaneous. You were able to set that up pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's actually a couple more steps I need to make with the whole, like, the guest live stream host. So yeah, there's a couple more things I actually need to finish up in terms of building it out, because I've kind of thought more about it. So yeah, that'll be next, to where there'll be like some commands and stuff. Another thing that would have to happen. Well, anyways, I don't have to say it all here now, but yeah. So there's a couple things I need to finish up, but we could still do it the way it is now. But I'm just saying I'm going to improve it and make it even a little more streamlined.
Well, I don't know how we get eggshells up here on the stage here, but like
I invited him
forth like that, and then have like a little after show where like kind of afterthought kind of things. I think people would look back on that kind of stuff, like, oh, remember when me and Jerry went at it? Kind of look back, or it's Doc.
Yeah.
Like, remember that time I wrecked you, bro? Let's get to the tape.
Let's go to the videotape.
Go to the tape, bro. You heard it. No, that was cool.
There's so many combos I'd love to hear, you know, and there's so many different combos we could do too.
Like I can just imagine like a little 1v1 versus, like, I don't know, Zanuck and somebody, or you know what I'm saying? It might actually be fun just to listen to, where you don't have everyone else jumping in. You know, that might be a way cooler thing. I would love to listen to that shit. Like, I don't want to hear every other different asshole jump in, you know, in a good discussion. So the stage is perfect for that.
I don't know. Talking with Zanuck might get obnoxious because he speaks in paragraphs. You know, he doesn't really
special moderation or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, you know, clip it and ship it, Gio. Chop it and jot that one down for the books.
Yeah, chop it and shop
it. Chop it and shop it.
All right. Should I end the video?
Well, there could be a section where we let the audience jump in and try to, you know, give their thoughts. That would be, because I think Eggshell, there could be like an after show section too, you know, where people share.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I did. I think I invited Eggshells up, but I don't think he accepted. Maybe he's not.
I really don't know how to do it yet, completely, but make it happen, Eggshells.
I got one. We got to have Jin versus Zanuck.
Oh, dude, that's what I was saying. I was thinking of all these different combinations, like
Yes,
Jay
that's
versus like
yeah, that's what I think about all the time. I was like, man,
Pete
who do I
Shea
want to
versus
hear?
Russ, 1v1 history.
Oh man, yeah,
Oh man, get
that'd
that
be awesome.
recorded somehow.
Like I want to hear, like Issa go against somebody.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can think of all these different combinations,
Yeah,
and I think everyone would kind of sort of be into it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We kind of just broke the ground tonight with this, but man, it's got to be spontaneous. Like that's what I'm saying. Geo just made it happen so quickly. It was like nothing.
Yeah, for sure. And we can streamline it even more in the future. But because, yeah, there's a couple of steps I'm going to create too, but additional things. But yeah, that was awesome. I would love to hear a lot of different types of ones like this. That'd be sweet. And like you said, I mean, let's say there's like, even if we're in the main room and two people are really going back and forth, I mean, sometimes we kind of do that anyways. We'll kind of jump in as mods and do that. And one option would be just to grab the live stream host role and then host it in that room. But like you guys are saying, when other people jump in, it makes it a little bit harder to kind of manage, or it can. Whereas in here, you just set it up. Whoever's in the discussion can have the guest live stream host role, so they choose who comes up and who doesn't. They can't mute each other, so there's not that issue. And have a couple mods in here just to, because some people probably would have to be. If it was like Xanac and Jin, like it'd probably have to be heavily moderated, or like Rumpus and Jin or something. Oh my!
Oh man, Rumpus and Jin, forget it, man. Jeez.
Oh, look, we can have some Clash of the Titans, man. I think that. Here's the thing. What the stage does is that it makes it less offensive. Like, say someone wants to host, like in the live stream host role. If you're trying to live stream host and you mute people, some people might get offended or whatever. But on the stage, you can just be like, okay, it was nice hearing from you, and then they're back to the audience. You know what I mean? It's just like more of a show. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's less offensive, and it's more of a show kind of presentation, and I think everyone kind of enjoys it.
Right. So let's say right now, if there was a bunch of people in the audience, and let's say people are raising their hands, they want to jump up and give feedback, then cool, we bring them up. They talk for a little bit, and then just like when you're doing like a radio show or something, if let's say that person asks their questions, they make a few comments. You could just kind of send them back to the audience. So, like you said, you could say, "Okay,
thank you,
thanks," and then the next person's up.
Dude, that's the great addition. I feel like this whole stage thing is unexplored territory, sort of, and I think it would be better, even for like mods, less policing, less dealing with it. It's just like here's the presentation. They're running the show. You want to listen? You can listen. If you want to be on the show, then raise your hand. I feel like it's pretty cool.
I just had this other idea. I wonder if I could do this. What if I could make like a command that people could basically call out a duel in the chat? Like, what if anyone in the chat could do a command that would like challenge someone else? Like, hey, I want to challenge, Xanac or whatever, to a thing. And then somehow like it would like, send a DM or whatever it would do. And then like Xanac would have to respond and he'd have to click the emoji like, yes, I'll accept,
It's been sent. The debate. Well, here's the thing. DP has wanted to debate B-ball, right? So they could just hop on here whenever. I feel like, or if you had like some I don't know, command or something.
Yeah, I feel like the one-on-ones is really the best way.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah. Because what could happen is, somebody could be, stuck in a bad spot and someone else could just, bail them out. And I don't want that. You know,
Yeah,
I want,
you want to see someone die on the cross.
yeah.
You want it like say it's like Xanik versus Travis or something. Let's make it obvious how this one's gonna end, kind of thing.
Yeah, you want to see somebody's dreams shattered right in front of everybody.
Well, I feel like that's really the only way to kind of learn how to, debate this stuff is to just
It'll be recorded.
Yeah, get stuck in bad spots and see if you flounder.
Well, the problem with the big room is that, like we said, there's a lot of people that want to jump in and rescue, or they can even change their topic completely. But when you're doing a 1v1 like what you did with Babs, there's no way out. You're kind of, it's brutal in a sense. It's kind of like a gladiator fight. So, yeah.
Kind of wish there was more people.
Oh, this is just a start, man. You got to realize this was very impromptu. Like, very spontaneous. That's what was surprising. Gio was able to just like, click this into at a snap of a finger, kind of thing. That you're the first. You're breaking ground here, Jerry. All right.
Yeah. I'm kind of like tired now. Kind of like spent. Damn.
Yeah, and I was gonna say another thing to consider is that these don't have to last too long. This probably could have, if you wanted just a 20-minute back and forth, that would still be just as cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yep, I agree. It's actually even more listenable too. Like if somebody shared the video and it's just a 20, however long it is. But yeah, that'd be
Cut
little
to the chase.
Little short clips.
And I had you guys in mind. I was like, do people really want to listen to this? Just go back and forth, like in the,
You started thinking about the audience, eh?
Yeah, because I felt like we were going back over the same stuff. Dude, I already made this point. We need to.
I feel like he got that vibe too. And there's like a little bit of a showmanship, like, man, I got an audience, whatever. But like maybe a shorter segment, like you got Jerry versus Babs, 10-minute fucking blood gulch or something. I don't know, like just real quick, like back and forth, and then you covered that issue. Like, they don't have to be 2 hours, you know what I mean, or an hour.
I'm kind of glad I went against Babs because he's been in this discussion for a long time.
Oh yeah.
So,
That's a good one, man. You got that under your belt. I thought you did pretty good, to be honest. You know what I wanted to do, Jerry? I was like resisting the urge to send you like hints or something. I was gonna be like, challenge him on why he believes this stuff. But I was also like, man, I know he's got it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I feel like, you have a lot of the same. You kind of come from the same direction I do. Like, a lot of this stuff is stories and beliefs, not really actually like grounded in this to be true. Kind of.
It is, man.
So I was resisting the urge to like help you out because I thought you already knew. So.
Yeah, like I don't see it as us versus them. Like, I see.
Yeah, it really isn't even about flat Earth, even.
Right, because I admitted that I believe the Earth is flat. I can't prove it to you. That's why we're having this discussion. All I have is what I could show you. I could show you a flat horizon, and yeah, I know it works on a globe, but why would you think it's a globe? You need something else. Okay, so then we, investigate that, and that's also fucked up. And they do something else and something else, and then after you, destroy everything, then they say, "Well, we're getting into stupid stuff, minutia." It's like, no, dude, like you want to discuss this, we're gonna have to get into the minutia. So
Well, isn't it one of those how do you know what you know versus what
yeah, and it starts turning
how
into
do
a
you know and why do you know?
yeah, yeah, and that's not really what this is about. But
Well,
yeah, I
Jerry,
just
hold
want
on. I don't know if
to
Gio
go ahead.
wants to do this, but is there any last words?
No,
Final thoughts?
Well, the one thing I was going to say is that I had the urge that I wanted to jump in and say something, not in a moderation way, but just because the points were interesting, or I wanted to share my viewpoint. So that's what I find is that I had to kind of say to myself, like, no, they're just having their back and forth, they're one versus one. Like, I'm not really, because if I jump in there, it's going to change the whole energy of it. And all of a sudden, so that's what's very interesting about it is that, I mean, I'm kind of joking that I had the urge. Obviously, it wasn't that bad of an urge, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I just had that feeling of like, oh, I want to jump in. And then I kind of had to remind myself, like, no. And in a way that's like maybe a little frustrating because I wanted to respond, but not really frustrating, but just a little bit kind of like, oh, I want to. But then it's also cool because it's also cool because then I felt like I was actually listening to like a radio show, like an actual, yeah.
Gio, that's what I'm saying. I think like these
It was more like a podcast or
isolated
something.
discussions are really good. I don't know how you could monetize that or something, but like just like a quick back and forth of two individuals, uninterrupted, isolated episode kind of thing. That would be sick. I know people would go back and listen. Like, I know that would be a real thing.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I had actually had the idea for it a very long time ago in terms of this and exactly this. Like, I had envisioned in my mind, like, that there could be all kinds of different combinations and hearing different particular topics and particular people. I even had the idea that maybe at some point there'll be like a regular, like this is another option too, like, at a certain time every day, like let's say 3 p.m., whatever it is, it's just like 1v1 hour, or something like that.
Well,
Something
Gio, can I ask you a serious question? That sounds like a really fun, cool thing that could be like put into routine. But the head of this ship is your ability to be able to make that happen. Like that sounds like a lot of work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, in terms of making a separate YouTube video, yeah, that's the part because I do have to log on to the server and do that. It only takes it only takes a second to create a new one, but that is one small thing. But another thing about it is that like I could actually make it to where the moderators could do everything. Like
there's like a command or something, maybe.
Yeah, I can make it to where you guys could give and remove the guest live stream host role, and stuff like that, to where basically,
or like an episode role where we just do one-on-one discussions. And I don't know. See, that's the thing, Gio. I don't know all the details behind making that actually happen. That's all on your shoulders, man. That's why I'm like, good luck, man. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, as like I said, I can make it to where you guys could give the guest live stream host role, and then I think that there's going to be a couple more steps. So I mean, that could all be pretty done by the whole moderator staff as well. Like I said, the only thing that couldn't be done is just the starting a new YouTube video just for that discussion. Meaning, well, it could be if I gave somebody the login to the server, but I'd have to give them the actual login, and then they'd have to go in there and just, create a new one. That's the only option to do that, other than me doing it. But I should be able to still do it when I'm here. And then even if we can't create a new YouTube video, I mean, as long as you guys could give and remove the role and and all that, then it really only takes like 1 or 2 mods to set it up and do it.
Yeah, I kind of just like it's kind of like you meet in the live or meet in the stage room. You can the mods can edit the title to be whatever. I just don't know how you would record it into like an episode on YouTube or something. You know what I mean? That would be the only. That's like a back end issue that only I think you could deal with.
Right, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Unless I gave someone the login to the server, but yeah.
Yeah, that would be complicated. Well, I mean, you're here a lot of the time anyway, so holy shit. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I'll be able to be here. But yeah, it is true that there's times when I'm not. But yeah, I mean, if we have all 3 live streams running, then all it takes is an empty stream, or to have one of them empty, and then just pop in, and
Well,
as long as
let me
there's
ask
some
you this.
stage moderators. The cool thing is that it puts it up at the top of the server, so everybody can kind of see it too. Like in the middle of the day, I bet even if it was just 2 people and like 1 moderator, and they were like, "Hey, let's jump in here." I bet like there would be listeners that would start popping in because they're going to see that up at
Yeah,
the
it's
top.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to ask you, Gio, is say like we have 2 people that really want to go at it and like a debate. And I'm like, dude, this is perfect for a stage. Can you just say, hey, let's go into live stream 3, and then everyone join like a live stream 3 stage, and then there be a YouTube bot there or something? That way, it's on like the YouTube 3 channel kind of thing, and you can just cut it out later or something. I see. That's
Yeah.
what I don't understand. I don't understand how that. That's where it's all on you, man. I don't know how to do that.
Well, it would be cool if there was a Discord bot that you could send a command to that would create a new live stream. That'd be sick. I wonder if that's even a thing. That would be.
Did you just move one of the live stream bots into the stage channel to record it? Is that how you did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to move it out, you can't drag it. You have to right click on it and go move and then find the live stream 1 VC to send it back. But yeah, yep, you pull it in. It has to be in here to record.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't try to do that shit unless I think you were around. Just, I feel like I'd be messing something up. But you know, it doesn't really matter. I feel like that wasn't a big deal to make that happen. Like, this doesn't seem like, in actuality, that wasn't too difficult to just set up, I don't think. And there'd be a lot of you could make like a YouTube library or a playlist of, Jerry versus Rumpus, or Zanuck versus Briggs or something. You could have like all these different cool interactions with people. I think people would like to hear it though, so that's my only idea.
Yeah, for sure.
That would be really fun, I think.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it sounds awesome, and yeah, I think we should encourage it more. And because another thing is that even when there's a big room, there's 30 people in there or whatever, it's often just 2 people going at it anyways. Like, sometimes. I mean, it is sometimes more, but it's like,
you don't want to hear some asshole jump in.
And the other thing is that if someone jumps in and there's like 30, 40 people in there, like, they might dig it, but they also might not dig it. And so if there was more options, like if those 2 people could jump off and then do, if they wanted to go, deeper into it, and then that other person can have more options, like if they want to hear that, they can.
Yeah.
And then if they want to have a more open thing, they can.
I think, half of the enjoyment I get from the server really does come just from listening to everyone kind of interact, and like, you guys get into really crazy conversations that it's like kind of really fun to listen to. So, and I've heard you say that you can isolate certain conversations, but a nice 1v1 duel, that's kind of fun too. Like, I would specifically listen to an episode of, this person versus that person. Like, that sounds really fun. Like, you could have.
Oh, for sure. And I bet a lot of people would want to do it, right? Like,
oh yeah, everyone would want to have their own little episode. That's
Yeah,
what
some
it
of these
is.
guys like Ruhiv who wants to go up against Bev, or there's so many like,
dude.
and they already. I mean, we're already doing that anyways, but this is
Yeah.
just a little bit more structured, and then we get the stage.
Isolated. Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit isolated. You could just say, "Here is the infamous episode of Ruhiv versus Bev," kind of thing. Episode debate 1 or something. You could you know, I don't know. You could probably make it, sell it. I would love to actually hear like certain people just have a conversation 1v1, no interruptions.
For sure. And on the video thing, yeah, if I'm here at my computer, like I can always start it and end it and whatnot. But another option, even if I'm not here or anything like that, yeah, one option is having someone else who would log into the server. But another one is that as long as the live stream's live, like as long as that channel's live, and I'm actually going to get a timestamp and a date thing on the live stream. I've been meaning to do that. So once that's up, the mods could always like mark down, okay, we started at 2:30 or whatever, and then I don't know how much editing I want to do. I'm not really much of a video editor, although I know it's fairly easy just to go
Keep it
through and
raw,
clip it
man.
out.
Just like a clip.
But I could also like give the whole video to anyone who wants to cut it out. So let's say like Kosho has some discussion with someone else or whatever, and if I happen to not be here to create a new video, I'm just saying that we could still like timestamp it, and then I could like give the video to someone else who wants to cut it up, or I could as well. But
yeah, like I can just think of it now. You know how like you got like Jeremy and Kosho. They have like a little banter where they go in these. They're not really even debates. It's kind of just like they have these really funny conversations back and forth. It could last like 20 minutes. You just chop that shit up and make a series out of it. Even like there's so much content available here. I think that Gio, it's all on you, man. I think I don't know. It's really just entertaining content at the end of the day, I guess.
If anybody could figure it out, it's Gio.
Yeah, and Gio, it's on your shoulders, man. Good luck. This is not my battle.
yeah, I think it's sweet. I think doing this too, because one of the things with like when there's a room with a bunch of people in it, it's kind of hard to try to break that up. You know what I mean? Be like, hey, we're gonna start hosting it, or something like that, because people are kind of chilling in there and they're already kind of in the vibe. But this way, we can just encourage like different split off conversations. Like let's say there's like a discussion. Let's say two people are really, really heated, but it's like so heated that it's like, okay, they need to have their own room, like literally get a room,
Yeah.
Get a room, dude. So that then we can just do that. And then that'll create a stage that other people on the server might pop in and listen to as well. And then if that is
people like that too,
yeah.
Like as much as I don't want to admit I like the drama, but I used to love listening to Nathan Oakley and Rumpus. Completely just I don't know. They were just degrading each other on the internet. It was insane. And I'm not saying go full drama, but like I don't know what to tell you. It's fun to hear certain people interact, man. I don't know. That's like free content. You know what I mean? You can just clip it. That's it. And everyone would love that, So the live streams are fun, Gio, but the real content's gonna come from the characters talking to each other, I feel like.
I agree.
And a lot of people here seem to say the funniest shit I've ever heard. So, Gio, all you gotta do is just edit, man.
Yeah, kind of like Chemo does with "Are You Smarter Than a Flat Earther?"
You got too much content, man. Gio, this should be huge, man.
You could give all the streams to Chemo, and then he could just chop them up for you, because that's pretty much what he does with his channel.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But then
Yeah,
again,
I can do some basic. I mean, I can do basic editing. I don't really want to. I don't have enough time quite to like. If there was like a lot of one-on-ones going like throughout the day, and there was a lot that had to be cut up and timed and late and relabeled and split up and then re-uploaded, I probably don't have quite the time in my current schedule to like add that all in. So that's what I was saying. Like, if there's a lot of ways to do it. Like, even if we had one, like, let's just say Livestream 3 was like the 1v1 room, and then anyone who wants to do a 1v1 can just pop in there. Someone can create a stage, and then if that's the case, then that might be just like one live stream that's going, all day. And then if people want, like, perhaps they could go back and cut it up. Or if someone just wants to offer to do it, that'd be sweet too. Like if we just had like a 12-hour video and there was like 20 different 1v1s on it and someone wanted to go through, hack them up, and then resend them back to me, and then I can upload all of them. There's a lot of options, a couple different ways to do it, but yeah, I love the idea.
I really don't think Gio, how, like, do you know how to pull people up? I still can't figure that shit out. Like, I see a hand raised and I don't know how to pull them up. You know what I mean?
Right. I don't know if you're on a computer or phone, but if you right click on their profile, it should say invite to speak. Also down at the bottom next to the mute button and all that, there's an exit quietly. There's a thing that says show requests. So
all right.
that'll open up a little sidebar, and then it'll list all the people on the right that have requested. So,
well, Riggs, if you're in the audience, I see you're in the audience. Can you raise your hand? Let's see if we can get this shit working here.
Well, he should be a stage moderator because he's got the live stream host role. So I don't know if he'll be able to raise, and then maybe here I'll go down. I'll go down.
Yeah, I got.
Let me go down and try it. See if you can do it to me.
Okay. I have it full screen. Let's see if I can drag you. Did you get that? Invite to speak. I think you have to ask to speak. Now I have a black hand. So what is this? Okay.
I don't know.
It's got to be like a mutual agreement.
Well, it does, but see, I'm a stage moderator, so it was that's what they call it, stage moderator. So it was like it doesn't have the same thing. Like if you don't have stage moderator, then it'll say you have to, like, for example, I didn't have to click the accept thing, but you were able to invite me.
Yeah, it said invite to speak.
So you were able to invite me, but because I'm a stage moderator, I can just jump up anytime. But if it was someone from the audience who's not a stage moderator, then all they can do is raise their hand, and then you would have to go and invite them. And once you invite them, then they have to click accept, and then they come up. Whereas with me, it looks like you were able to request it. I was able to see that you requested, and then I just popped up. Like I didn't have to accept the thing at that point. I was able just to pop up.
Yeah, I personally think this is the future. This is something just you got to figure out, but like everybody wants that 1v1, you know what I mean? That 10-minute, 20-minute conversation of Rumpus and someone else or something, you know what I mean? I think this would be really sick.
Yeah, I think okay, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, man. Well, a lot of this shit is in your hands, man. I don't like you got the YouTube. I'll probably, if I was ever gonna listen, I would listen to it on YouTube. Kind of an after the fact kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to go ahead and close this one out since, we've sort of done the after show and reflection on it all. And
Yeah, this is done.
But yeah, I'm going to fire up a new one. And yeah, I guess we can move down to the regular live stream.
Yeah. Hold, well,
yeah.
Gio, check this out. I don't know if you just woke up or you're ready to do another, but like, we could probably. It doesn't have to be now, but sometime again, like just jump down in the room where everyone's at and say, anybody want a 1v1 or something? You know what I mean? Like this could be like
for sure.
challenging corner or something.
Exactly, and that's up to the moderators to kind of stir up, to do that. Yeah, to like to kind of because we've talked sometimes there's like 40 people in the room, but there's only 2 people going at it.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes people, we've thought, well, why don't we split people up and at least, open up a second live stream.
Start another room, I'll be honest. Yeah.
Sometimes it is because people are it can be.
You don't want to take away, but you want to start
But this 1v1 thing could
oh dude, people like drama and that would be fun. But that's what I'm saying, like you could make that happen literally anytime if you just ask people. Like that was so quick to start up Jerry and him. That was insanely quick. So that's kind of impressive that you were able to make that happen. So you could, I guess it's just really up to you whenever you want to make that shit happen. Easy going. Now that you kind of figured it out.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll set it up to where there's a couple different things I'm gonna, like I was saying before.
I'm gonna start suggesting that shit. Hey, percentage, when do you want to talk to Kosho? You want 20 minutes up on the stage or something? Who knows?
Yeah, we could even like name it, like have it could be called like the 1v1 Awakenings, or we could have some name for it. Be like a series.
Name it whatever they want or something.
Well, it could be like a series in a way, and then.
Oh, dude, a series of episodes. Yeah,
that'd be cool. That'd be interesting. Or it could be just like 1v1 discussions, or I don't know if there's like a name that would be good for it, but
you know what would happen is I would go through like a whole series of DMOC episodes. Just like DMOC debating Rumpus and all these other people. There's certain people that I think would just be funny to hear debate.
Could also do like, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3. You get like Rumpus, Kosho, and Zanuck up against like SE Montreal. And I mean, we could get some amazing
combinations or some shit. Like Moyoc and Kosho versus DMOC and Carlos.
I know, there's so many combos.
Good luck.
DMOC versus the world.
DMOC versus 5 Glovers.
He just takes on the whole server one at a time.
Dude,
he could do that too.
I would listen to that shit. That's the thing. That's the sad part, is I would actually think that would be hilarious.
You could just invite people. You could just invite people up the stage one at a time, and then just when he's done with them, just boom.
Mod.
You're banned. Yeah, he's just.
You're gone. You're gone. Okay, Gio. I think you know enough to know. There's a lot of potential here. Oh man, Jerry.
Yeah, I think we should start. I think we should start doing it for sure. I mean, one thing is, I have to be able to give the mods the ability to give and remove the guest live stream host role. But I think also I'm going to make a little bit of like a little agree thing. Maybe not the same as the full live stream host agree, but maybe like a shorter one. Because if we're giving just
like a stage role thing.
Well, if we're giving like people, the ability to mute and all that. I mean, if I'm here and I'm able to obviously do it, that's great. But there will be times where I'll probably be listening and then I'll leave or whatever. So the mods would, like, for example, they'd have to be able to remove that role at the end. You know what I'm saying? Because then that person, like if it's, Zanuck or whoever, if the role's not removed, then he might jump into the other streams, start muting people.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So like the mods
would be able to curate it a bit.
Yeah. So there's that, and then I think I'm going to make a little bit of like a thing that, especially if they've never done any moderation or hosting or anything, if they're going to be a guest host, I think there should be a little bit of a couple guidelines like extra, just so they know that like if they misuse it, it can still be removed. And
well, Gia, I think like say for like a stage moderator, like a stage moderator could jump down into the general chat room and say, "Hey, Druss, do you want a 1v1 dice low? Real quick, 20 minutes." And you could drag them up, right, and say, "Here we go, 20 minutes." And then I don't know how you would issue the roles, but it would only be like what I'm trying to say is that like the spontaneity of it, like it should be kind of, I don't know how you would do that. You know what I mean? I think that would be
I know
hard
what you mean.
as an admin. You got to do probably a lot of fucking commands.
No, that could be done pretty easily if you just. Well, it just depends on if someone's hosting. I mean, for example, let's just say, like, I mean, it doesn't even have to be through a live stream host. It could still just be, like, even like, a server guardian, or I guess it just depends on who can give and take that. But what I'm saying is, you don't even really need that role per se. Like it doesn't even technically have to be hosted in that way. Like, meaning that, like, right now we could go into the room, say, "Hey, do any two people want to do a 1v1?" Then they'll say two people say, "Yeah, let's do it." They both jump up. We create a new video or whatever, and then there's one or two moderators, and then those people, and then however many are listening. So it doesn't even really have to be live stream hosted. The thing about live stream hosted, if people want to get that guest live stream host role, it just means that they then can control who comes in and out. But if it's just a 1v1 with a couple mods, technically the mods could just run it. But if the people who are coming in, kind of like today, if like Babs wants to be able to like mute and whatnot, then yeah, at that point they would have to be given the role and all that.
Well, here's the thing, Gio, like say Bev wants to come in and do a presentation for a while, and he wants to do it in Livestream 1. That could be set up different than, like a 1v1 debate on the stage or something. There's like a kind of different, they're kind of the same, but you could do them, I guess, differently. Like, I don't know. You got the live stream mod, and then you could probably have like a stage mod kind of thing or something. I don't know.
Well, the way it works with the stages is that there's just a thing that Discord calls stage moderator. So if you have that, then you just get to do these features in the stage. Like, you can create a stage, you can bring people up, you can rename it, you can end it. And then you can, like, bring people in and out of up the stage. So right now, that guest live stream host role, it does have that. It's a stage moderator. So when they get that, they'll be a stage moderator. And then that role also gives them muting abilities in the other live streams too. So okay. if they were hosting in there, then they could be able to manage it.
Okay, last question. I think I feel like if we want it recorded, we have to bring in a YouTube bot, and if you bring in a YouTube bot, like I'm sure you'd have to do some sort of cutting to that or editing, to really splice it out into episodes or something. So I'm just gonna let you do that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. It's all going out there, and it's kind of cool too that these are like, I feel like because they are going up, just on the channel and whatnot. Like, yeah, it's not like we're getting tons of views right now, but it's just cool.
Fresh.
It's cool that they're there, and who knows who will listen to it again in the future. And it's just cool to have it as like a just historic, sort of the history of it all.
It's super fresh. I like it. Everybody sort of wants to hear it. I like it, man.
Have we actually even done there may be some sort of Discord bot that already does like a YouTube instant streaming like thing.
Yeah, I
And
haven't looked into
it
that.
may not be good for the live stream, but like if a mod has power over that, they could just set up a title real quick, press the button, and then it would start streaming on a fourth live stream or whatever.
That would be sweet if that exists. Yeah. I mean, what would
You
be
know what I mean?
the coolest is if there was like an integration with like OBS and some Discord bot that you could start
Yeah.
and stop like videos remotely. That would be amazing. I mean, that would
Well,
be
not even OBS, because Discord has a streaming feature. Wouldn't it be cool if while you're in the stage, you could just literally click the button start now and it just starts your YouTube stream. You know. That's what they need to work towards, I think.
that would be sweet. Yeah. Whether that exists not now or not, yeah, I'm not sure.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
it doesn't. There may be a bot or something, but it should just be like a button right here on the stage for moderators.
I would think it would have to go through Streamlabs or through OBS, whichever one is using. Like if you were to, because that's what needs to
No,
be.
it would. It would do something. I mean, it may even. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but I imagine there's some solution out there, even if it's hidden.
Well, one way I could think about it would be to have like a clicker app, maybe like a one that clicks the mouse, but also could then be connected to a Discord bot. That's kind of a lame way to do it. Then you would hover, the mouse on the server would already be hovered over the start and stop streaming button. But that's not really ideal because you'd also want to change the title. But it's kind of a funny way of doing it. Just like some Discord command that sends a message to the clicker thing to click, basically, to start a new one. But that probably wouldn't like work out that well doing it that way. It'd be better if it somehow just was linked in. I wonder if there is. I'm gonna Google it now. OBS Discord start streaming bot program. Probably wouldn't be that hard. Well, I don't know.
No,
but
yeah, you just
get it
have to
custom coded.
attach your. I know if you stream on Twitch, you can just attach your profile key to OBS, and anytime you hit start recording, it'll live stream it. Or if you hit start streaming, it'll. See, I don't know how you're streaming it.
Wait, what does it do?
Well, I just know how you can start streaming on Twitch is just by linking the key from your Twitch profile to the OBS. And anytime you hit start streaming, it just automatically does it on both. But I
Really?
don't know how
So
that works on YouTube or DLive.
Well, if it does it through OBS, then that's all that would be needed.
Yeah, there's a way you can link it. So whenever you hit start streaming, it starts streaming on Twitch, and I guess OBS naturally because that's where it's getting it from.
Well, if you know of that, I mean that's almost what we're talking about.
Does the server have Twitch?
Yeah.
Well, how do you run it on Twitch?
Through Streamlabs.
Yeah. Well, does Streamlabs? Do you use OBS and you run OBS through Streamlabs or something? Or
Streamlabs basically is OBS. Like OBS itself is just the raw software. Streamlabs is basically they take OBS and then they kind of spice it up a bit. And
yeah, I've never done that.
And they have a multi-streaming built into it as well, which you can do multi-streaming with regular OBS, but you have to get like plugins, and so it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I don't know that.
All right. Well, any other thoughts? Yeah, we'll work it all out. Yeah, there's lots of different options. We'll keep looking at the options, but I guess we've kind of been in the after show. It's been good to reflect on this, but yeah, unless there's any final thoughts, maybe I'll close this one out and then we can.
Oh yeah, dude. Cut half this shit that we said. No point. Jerry,
right.
you did fucking great, man.
Yeah.
Good, man.
That was awesome.
It was really sick.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you,
I think
Jerry.
anytime, Riggs. It's just I think about this stuff a lot. You know, I really think about this stuff like 16 hours a day because it's a big deal. You know, fucking flat Earth. You know, it's crazy. So, you know, I think about it over and over and over again. And there's really no way that we could know. Everything is just a story. So, you know, I mean, as
Damn
defeatist
right.
as defeatist as that might sound, I mean that's really where it's at. You just have to give up your ego and your quote unquote autonomy and just say, you know, I can't know how the stars work and all that. I just can't. So there you go.
Well fucking said, my man.
You know, Druss a second ago, he said that because a bullet's going straight up, that it wouldn't deviate because you're at the same latitude. Because of Coriolis. I was like, dude, you don't understand. Like the whole air system has to be dragging behind the spin.
How did he prove that to you?
I mean, he didn't prove that. He said I didn't understand Coriolis. I'm like, okay, I don't think anybody understands Coriolis because they only change their opinion to suit their argument. And it has nothing to do with like, it's just not consistent. Like, oh, either the air moves or it doesn't move. It's whatever they need it to be.
Absolutely.
It's very disingenuous.
Yeah, so that you can't call them a liar anymore, though. We're trying to not call people liars. But
Yeah.
it's good to know that you know that they don't have a clue.
Well, I'm gonna bark at everybody that starts calling names, and it seems to be working. So
Yeah.
I've seen a definite cleanup in behavior just in the last couple days. So I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Dude, I try to say that to Brenda's honestly really. I've noticed Brenda's really made an effort here.
Yeah.
Really is making an effort. I like that. It's good.
Yep. Well,
Rumpus
I
doesn't
imagine
give
she
a
doesn't
fuck,
have
though.
really many places to go. And she talks about how she's poor and lonely and shit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that's. But Rumpus on the other end, Rumpus doesn't give a fuck.
Rumpus.
Rumpus
I think okay, so Xanac and Rumpus, I think they're on drugs, man. I really do.
Okay.
No, you're laughing. I'm not.
No, I'm not laughing.
I'm not
I'm
joking.
laughing.
I think because
I've
like they speak so
Xanac.
fast. It's like meth or something. It's like Adderall or some kind of focused drug or something. But they're just way too active,
Bro.
way too active, and then nobody can catch up with them.
Dude, let me tell you this. Xanac used to come into Nathan Oakley's server, and when Xanac came in, he has something with his microphone. I don't know what it is, push to talk or whatever. But we've heard him literally like he'll snort a line and then really go at it, like, and he's super energetic. Like we started cracking up, dude. He does. I've heard him snort cocaine. And
the fuck out of here! Oh man,
I've heard it. There's no denying. Ask him about it. He'll try to red herring.
Well, did you ever think that maybe these people work at LIGO and shit because they need to support their drug habit? They just need to make more money.
Dude, that's Pasadena, California, Palo Alto. You know, rich,
right?
Trust fund kids of generations that won't be celebrities, but they'll never be poor. No. So,